Mic check, mic check. Let's make sure this is good. Yep. Is it loud enough, guys? Or do I need to turn it up? I did some tinkering a few days ago with the OBS, and I just want to make sure you can hear me okay. Like it's not blowing your eardrums out. If I get a little louder, will it hurt? Sounds good? Okay, thanks, Micro Mike. Best name out there. Okay, so today we had some nice trading. Um, nice two-way trading and lots of setups today, both on the DOM and on the footprint, and also using Elliot Wave. So the chart I'm going to bring to your attention is, let me just look here, make sure. Do this. You know what I noticed? There's something that's bothering me. I need to tile this thing properly. You know when the window's on the bottom, there's that gap. It annoys me. So something just happened here. There we go. Now it's the right size. Now I can tile it. Okay, cool. Now it's going to go all the way, fill the whole screen. Let's make sure. Yep, it's good. Okay, so here's our 5-minute chart. You guys all have it. And today, we obviously sold in down here, right? We got no higher time frame levels on the chart. The level 3 guys pay for all that. So I'm hiding all my high time frame levels and where we would have buys and sells and possible rotations. So that will be absent because the level 3 guys pay for that stuff. And so it won't be up here. But all of us just watched recently let me see here. Let me make sure. Loud and clear. Thank you, Abdel Kudos Zerwal. I appreciate you giving everybody a link in Discord as well. That was very nice of you. All right, I'm gonna turn off Discord real quick. Getting distracted. Okay, so we recently I recently posted an Elliot Wave, right? And what I'm wanting to bring to your attention here is this here. Right? We got right, yellow here, one. I thought this was, so here's one, here's three. I thought this here was maybe wave 5. This was wave 5. Parabolic. Okay. So 1, 3, 4 in here, and then 5. Oh, the ways of Elliot, right? So you're like, well, how did you play this? Okay, when the market was rallying in this area, or was it in this time? I was away from the PC. I was picking up my son from school with my wife, so I didn't catch all this. I didn't see what was going on here. But given this is 1, this is 3, and I identified we're in a second wave with the clear pullback, I took a short up here against what was T plus 1 and resistance. So in this case, we had this wave having a pull. So this has a pullback. You know, why don't I just change the color? Right? Make this pink. Right? So notice the wave from here about equal to here. I took a short, a nice public short in level 3, and I covered for some points. But I flipped on the NASDAQ long in here because this is only, clear this again. We'll just clear the whole thing. Okay, so wave 1, wave 3. So this is wave 2. This is wave 1. This is wave 3. This is wave 4. Someone, Super Walnuts, had asked me the other day, "Hey, dude, do you play pullbacks?" I said, "Absolutely." So identifying that this was wave 4, I said I was looking to buy pull. I bought NASDAQ on its pullback. So we could use the E-mini for this, but I bought the NASDAQ. Well, you know what? Since I traded the NASDAQ, I should just use the NASDAQ, because then I can show you what I was using on the footprint for support. And we can look at everything. Let's just do that. It's a little, in hindsight, makes a little more sense. Okay, so window, tile is grid horizontally. All right. Oh, we gotta hide some of this, hide some of that, hide some of this. All right. It's a little small, I get it. I want the big screen, I know. All right, we can do this. And then we'll make it big. You guys got to realize that this screen here is part of a 49-inch, so the right side of this, if I just maximize this, it'll go off the screen. So I got to drag them around. It's a thing. All right. So on the NASDAQ, I bought OVWAP pullback against the 10 SMA, and I bought it very publicly. I went short NASDAQ in this wick. Why? Prior high, resistance, top of wave 3, or impulse 2. And feel free to ask questions, guys. And I was looking to cover 70. I ended up covering all of it at 80. Because I'm like, I'm shorting, and only, so if this is 1, this is 3, so these are bullish waves, right? Bullish waves. And here I am shorting here. Maybe I should be covering before my target where I want to get long, right? OVWAP right here, and the 10 SMA, right? So I covered into 80, fully flat, nice winner, right? Stop was up here. You can see it's a 2R winner. It was a sweet trade. Made my day. But so I guess the context is, how the heck are you using Elliot wave to get long? Well, I realize I'm only in the third wave, or the pullback of the third wave. So it's likely has another push in it. So my trade was to get long on OVWAP right here against the 10 SMA, and also against volume on the footprint. And I can show that to you. So there was confluence, and I'm sure I'm getting long in wave 4 on the it's a bearish pullback. In the moment, I was nervous for my long, and the reason I was nervous is because you had all this space here, right? Sometimes these things, they pull back and they go lower. So it was not going to surprise me if it either came back to here, which is value area high, or even TD Ameritrade VWAP here. It wouldn't have, either one of these here would not, this here or this here would not have surprised me, and I would have taken shots long again. With what? More opportunity for new highs and upside. So I would have held the trade for new highs in this wave 4. But with this thing pulling back high and tight like that, I took off in here. So my stop was in here underneath the market. I took off in here. I took off the rest right into new highs. This is where I took off all of the rest. Why? Because wave 5, I'm already looking to take profit. So we ended up getting another pullback, and that ended up being wave 5. I'm the hindsight dummy, but it's what it is. It's okay. It's this structure still provided me with a good opportunity to go long in a wave 4 pullback. And that's really what I'm trying to point out, is that what you just learned off the Elliot wave video could have been utilized today, right? By, on the bullish side, by getting long back here and looking for continuation for a parabolic wave 5. Now, this little move here shook a lot of folks out. Myself, I mean, I didn't know what to do on this. You know, I mean, this shook a lot of folks out. And so, like, you just got to admit, like, hey, this was a tough one because you made a new high, then pulled back, and then really went ham, right? Just straight up into the close. So, but let's take away the positives, which is a structural trade on OVWAP plus, if you go look at the footprint, let's go look at it. And we expand the footprint. Do this and do that. All right, here we go. And let's go take a look. All right. So here's my long. Here's my long entry right here. You see that? That node? See how OVWAP lines up with this node here? It's all orange. High volume node. So my short was from here, stop in here, 2 R's on this trade. Okay, so this long, the confluence for it is 10 SMA. Footprint, volume node, OVWAP. Pullback, wave 4. This is wave 3. So still not trend exhaustion. And you want to take off, or at least I did. We had gamma levels up here into new highs, which is what I did. I took off into this bar. Trade was done. That was the high probability setup and buying a pullback in an Elliott wave 4. That was it. That was the trade. Any questions? Fortunas, I'm late to the stream, but I'll rewatch from the beginning shortly. Thanks, Mike. Okay, cool. Right on, my friend. Let's see. What else do we have? What other great trades were there? Here, let me get these all organized again. Window, tile as grid horizontally. Shoop. Get rid of this, that, that. All right. By the way, look at the difference in structure. NASDAQ rejecting at T1, essentially, what was becoming T2, and then reclaiming here in the after hours, right? Some sharp selling. Like, don't tell me T2 doesn't matter on the NASDAQ. It sure does. I actually took a short here, looking for a test of T1. When we ran out of steam here and there was icebergs, I covered the short at 65. I did that in L3. Showed everybody my position. Went a little lower when I stepped away, took a shower, but went a little lower here, and on this found this liquidity here at 60. Looks like that was resting, filled, and went straight up. So kind of interesting. I didn't see what happened here exactly, but kind of interesting. NASDAQ again. T2 and T1 are stacked on top of each other. So it would not surprise me to see weak hands. Let's see, what was T1 today? Was it a nice close, like heavy volume close Yeah, it's a 50, 60 percentile. So look, we had this here, this T2 is now end of month. Wait a second. Yeah, it's end of month close. EOM, as I call it. That thing has a just a bucket load of volume, right? So if we hold T2 and rotate up, it should get interesting. But you got to expect short term for market to come back there. Some weekends to cover out to at least hedge with futures. So a lot of times the futures, the Globex gods, they love to push it down and make a lot of these hedge funds squirm overnight. So we'll see if they do it tonight. But anyway, we tried to test a little bit. This might be the clue that it's super bullish as well. But so, you know, opportunity here both directions. I think we'll see how it opens after the next hour, right? It'll get interesting. So okay, let's look at the next trade. And the next trade comes to you from Brewcephus. Brewcephus had the trade of the day, in my opinion. He took a sweet short with defined risk, called it ahead of time, which is glorious, and profited. And I was super stoked. I'm going to find it here eventually. Was it 20? Was it 20? I want to say it was 24.75. I want to say it was right. Oh boy, this Dom is just... Okay, yeah, here it is. Micro Mike. TOS does have a unique way of calculating VWAP. It's a little different than Sierra chart. That's all. So when you put your times in on Sierra chart, typically they don't match for RTH, ETH because TOS uses the old T plus or old settlement times for regular trading hours for futures rather than new settlement times. So TOS is a dinosaur, which is why their after hours don't match what they should be. Right? It's a whole thing. So their VWAP tends to be different than if you're using a futures trading platform like Sierra chart and use your VWAP from, you know, typical RTH cash open to cash close, which is why the 5-minute chart that you guys use has a reference chart with a different time zone, or not time zone, with a different chart time. I'm sorry, session time. Use the right terms. Different session times so that it matches up with TD Ameritrade VWAP to the tick. And the reason I use TD Ameritrade VWAP is because a lot of folks have that on their charts. And so it tells me something about the players who are using TD Ameritrade to chart. And there are many. Okay? So I like to see the reactions around it. Game theory, whether it bounces or it doesn't, whether we liquidate all the folks that have VWAP there on their charts at that level. So it's the one that matters for me. Yeah, no problem, man. Abdel Kudos Zirwal says, oh, I don't know, Abdel. It's all about context, my friend. There's no way for me to put that. There's no way for me to answer a question like that, Abdel Kudos, about the context and how much I rely on what. The weightedness of the tools that I use are going to depend on the context. Is it a choppy market that's rotating short term? Guess what? I might use a DOM and order flow. Right? Are we in a trending market? Guess what? I might use a 10 SMA. Right? It's in volume bars. Look, are we in a market that's rotating and has demonstrated a certain kind of market profile pattern? I'll use the TPO chart, and that'll have more weight. So, you know, it's there. There's no good way. You aren't the first person to ask me such a question, and I'm almost. I think some of the L3 guys are probably chuckling because there's so many times people have asked me this questions in variations, and they see how I trade in L3, right? And they're like, okay, I'm getting it more now. So it's I wish that my trading was so simple. I could say, yeah, SpotGamma's weighted 5%, and patterns are 35%, and you know, order flow is 45. It just doesn't work like that. Um, it's kind of like, let's take an analogy from life. You know, if you have a flood, so you say, how do you maintain your lawn? How do you maintain your yard? Well, it depends. Was there big rain? Maybe use something else. Was there big wind? All right, well, maybe use your rake. Are there lots of weeds? All right, maybe you use something else when there's lots of weeds. See, so the tools are variable, right? You wouldn't just say, and if you could figure this out over time, you are tracking your stats in a way that is probably a waste of your time to say, I use order flow this amount of time. It's like, why would that be useful to you as a trader, right? To say, I use order flow 8% of the time. Are you going to somehow systematically look at your order flow charts only 80% of the time? No. You're going to use what works for the right situation. So this is where being a part of the group for a longer period of time is what's necessary to learn more on how to use your tools. Because there is no easy package. There is no very easy, simple way to say, this is how you should approach markets that change their behavior over time every single day. It's just not how it works. Markets are constantly changing their behavior. Different tools work for different situations. If you're a surgeon and you're only using a band-aid, if you're only using a bandage, if you're only using a scalpel, then you have limited tools, and your tools only work under certain conditions, right? So I'm trying to teach different tools for different conditions. That takes time. It's university, my friends. So it's what it is. So I wish I could answer your question. Okay. Yeah, so the EW, as I said in the video, it's kind of like you can overuse it. You can be like, every day I see EW, right? You're on a 30-second chart, EW. You're on a 4-second chart, EW. Nah, I use it typically on a 5-minute chart, and I should have probably mentioned that in my video, but I didn't. So anyway, let's go into Brewcephus's short trade here. You know, what's interesting is I know that he shorted 2475, but it's not going to show the movement is not going to show because this candle, it's a 5-minute candle. Right here, right, this blue. It's going to look in hindsight like it went straight up and went above 2475, but in reality, this movement here went up, filled him, and then went all the way. How did that work? Yeah, this movement in this. So let's go look at it on the volume bars chart. I'm just trying to remember how it got there. 20. Yeah, there it is, right here. Here's Brewcephus' trade. It was a nice trade. Just a nice trade. Nice stop, nice trade. You could see it more clearly here. 21. Here it is. 24. Yeah, it was this. So Brewcephus got his trade, and it might have been on the micros or something. So that's why it won't show on the e-mini like it filled. But Brewcephus, let's put a risk reward tool on it. Let's see. Can you guys see it? Yeah, okay, you can see it. All right, so he got his, and it's just such a nice entry, guys. His stop was 27, I think he said. His entry was 24.75. And I think he was out at 21 or something. Let's just say it was 21. If Brew is here, let's see, 12 viewers. Maybe Brewcephus took off for the day. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was a great trade. Something like that. Oh, I have chart drawings turned off. Dang it. Okay, well, that didn't work. Let's turn this on. All right, so here, entry, 27 stop, profit taker down here. And what he was trading against was all this positive delta here. Right ahead of it, and it's here on the footprint chart as well. So he got short, essentially, right into this candle here, on this candle here, with the stop above here, and take profit at 1R here. In the moment, I said, you know, Brew, if he comes up and your thesis is that it's just going to reject here, like into this zone, why don't you just have a tighter stop? He said, well, it might just wick above and stop me out. It's like, but what's your thesis, right? Your thesis is get short into this positive delta, and then it comes back. So on the first touch, it's likely to do that. But if it goes above and it finds the stops above here, everybody that got trapped in this big ice here, maybe they take profit, and then you get a bigger down move. So you can get out one and then short it again above. So that's setup number 2 from the footprint. And Brew, he did a great job with that trade. I thought it was brilliant. He called it ahead of time. He executed on his trade. He had a defined stop. He had a defined profit taker, and the trade played out. And so, I don't know, just a slow clap for Brew. Yeah. 2075. So look at that. I mean, his exit was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Yeah. 24.75. Stop 27.75. Okay, so there you go. Brewcephus in the house. So, Mr. Lappin, P. Lappin, asks, did you see the positive delta as passive sellers? So what Brew is talking about, good question, man. I appreciate it. What he's saying is here, this positive delta in this zone is it passive, is what he's asking. Are they passive sellers? I see him as potentially taking profit, right? Or building a position. We don't know. But all we know is that went here. I'm going to clear this and move this. We don't know. But we do know that price, what we do know is that price went up and then came straight back down and sold for many, many points below that level. And so when it comes many, many points back to that level, how do you think longs who got caught up here, because this was the price hitting and someone sitting there with an iceberg on the ask side, and it happened to be new highs, right? So if you look left at the time, this iceberg here on this volume bar chart, you see the little orange dot? We identified it in L3. Ah, iceberg there. Look at them. Look. I was chuckling, so I was laughing my ass off. Like, look at these people piling in, and this players. And I think Brewcephus said something like, Sushi Boys came out back from lunch or something, or now they can go to lunch. Right? They're done. They just effed everybody. And then it went higher and then just sold right through. I was like, oh, and what I was talking about in L3, I was like, this market's just going to collapse on its own weight up here, right? And we got the nasty reversal back in, and it was all she wrote, right? No, they were taking profit to go to lunch. Yeah. So it was a good time in L3. We were having jokes here. As we trade, which we normally do. A little bit of jokes, but it's serious business, right? We're trading money, so. Let's see. Let me see here. All right. I just want to see. Yeah, so look. This is what the context was. You see all this volume build here? Like huge volume build, right? And we got some sweeps here. And at the time, look, this is interesting. We were talking in real time in L3 about OTFs, and I was pointing out, like, do you guys see this guy at 20 just buying it up? Like earlier, it was like all these sweeps, just right, the same exact levels, sweep. So we were noting behavior, right? I was talking about DOM and OTFs and dealers and speculating on price movement and just discussing what this movement potentially produces. So we were having a big old discussion about it. But let me see. So it was another good time. But when it went up here, and I said, look, new highs, there, I took profit. And then I took profit right at 25, by the way. This is not me. This is not me. I mean, some of it's me, but it's not a lot of it's me. And I said, holy cow, there's somebody way bigger taking profit at 25. And I was just kind of marveling at it. And you can see the breakout traders here were going ham. Just the single lots went nuts here. Retail Street piled in. It went up and it just went straight down. It fell. And the reason I thought it was going to fall is because of how it filled. It was so... The nature of the buying here was so one lot and aggressive that I was like, oh, yeah, I recognize that. It's an order flow kind of thing. Where you see like, oh, yeah, you could see it on the tape that they're just loading in with 1 and 2 lots here. Right? And you can see it on the DOM, you can see it on the tape, the way it filled. Just crazy. And just trapped it. When it came back, it was like puke it all down, right? So the idea for Brewcephus's trade is, look, you got this puke, you come back to it. He actually was looking for the short here, and he didn't get it. He said, dang it. And I said, you still going to take it? He goes, yep. Still going to take it. And so when it moved up there, that's the beautiful thing, right? He stuck to his guns. So when it went back up there and he filled the 2475s on the micros, which is right here, 2450 on the E-mini. So he got his better micro fill. It's just a beautiful thing because he tried here, didn't get it. It pulled back and he tried again and got it. So it was just... I don't know, slow clap trade. It was very good. So that was the context on the trade. That's what generated all this, right? It was just, look, this volume was roughly equal to just what happened in this bar right here at the same level. So maybe just the same seller selling here, right? Big volume through here. Maybe some of the same buyers from down here taking profits. Who knows, man? Who knows? It was choppy. Very choppy market. A lot of noise. So yeah, mainly just playing level to level until I was out around 11 p.m. my time or 2 p.m. Eastern. And then I came back to an electric market. I said, oh, this is a clear wave 3. Um, let's look to short into resistance. I got the good short. I got the good long. And my day was made. So it was good. So anyway, any more questions? I think kind of covered some of the trades that I wanted to cover. Covered the EW. So it's kind of this will be an addendum to the EW trade. You know what I'll do is I will add on YouTube the recommended video for the EW. Will be this one, so they'll be kind of connected. So anyway, any questions or is that it? I've walked for 6 hours on the treadmill today. It's a long time. Let's see. 13.1 miles. Any more questions? I'm here to answer questions. You have me cornered. I won't go off in another direction right now, but if it's relevant to EW or this trade, I will gladly answer it. We'll stay on point here. Anything? Okay, going once, going twice, going 3 times slowly because somebody might be talking or typing, and it might be taking them a while to type out their questions. 10, 9, 8. Should I sing? Someone will say yes. Nope. Everyone's asleep. No one said yes. Am I missing the chat? Maybe I need to scroll down. See. Nope. Everyone's just quiet. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. See you in the markets mañana, tomorrow. Peace.